welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside my special guest, Advaith Kumar. We met on Instagram. Very good guy. Been talking to him since day one. He's a very big Bears fan. We're happy to have him on today. And today we're going to be bringing the updates from today's practice on August 5th, 2021 of Bears training camp. No pads today, but the next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be pads before the Bears take their next break. But before we begin, Darnell Mooney absolutely roasted every DB on the roster. If you were a defensive back on the roster, he was coming through your throat today. Justin Fields had an absolutely monster day. No, seriously, we know everyone says it, but today was by far his best day as a quarterback in the NFL for the Chicago Bears. Andy Dalton still looks like the week one starter. He continues to have strong practices. Couple new defensive updates, couple positive signs in regard to depth. Yesterday, London and I were very concerned about the depth of this team. The defensive depth is looking great so far, and some new updates from player injuries and players unable to play. But before we begin, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray. Tired of your pizza topping sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. With accessories like the Stupid Seat Anchor, hand sanitizer bottle, or 100% silicone grip mat, your tray is the ultimate car organizer. With over 20 different color combinations, there's a Stupid Car Tray for everyone. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description. Less mess, less stress. Go get a Stupid Car Tray to get some Chicago pizza. So, Advaith, nice to meet you. Welcome to the show. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself and why you love the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so for sure, Nick. Thank you so much for on your show. It's truly an honor to really connect with Chicago Bears fans, and I'm guessing you're in college with also other college students. I think it's really important to not only network with other Chicago Bears fans and collaborate, but also in college and network with the people, who have the same interests as you. So, just thank you so much for having me on. A little bit about myself. I'm currently a rising senior at North Central College here in Chicago. And I'm also a Bears fan. Yeah, I'm also a Bears fan, and I make content about the Bears. I do a little bit different from what you guys do. My videos are more what I do video essays about the Bears, so that's kind of what I differentiate a little bit. But again, I love talking about the Bears. I love talking about Justin Fields and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited and looking forward to our interview here, Nick.
Yeah, Advaith, great to have you on. Congrats on being a senior at North Central. That's very awesome of you. I actually graduated from Illinois State University 2 years ago, so not too far out from college, but I'm very proud of you for, making it to your senior year. I'm happy you're a Bears fan and happy to jump on with you today. So let's jump into it. How does that sound?
Yeah, without further ado, let's get started.
All right, so topic number one is the quarterback update about the Chicago Bears. I know I hit on it a little bit in the introduction, but to start, we're going to start with Justin Fields today. We usually start with Andy Dalton because he is going to be the week one starter. He still is, but Fields definitely impressed more than Dalton today in regards to from a fan standpoint. He had an absolutely monster day. They were cheering for him the second he ran onto the field. He went 7 for 7 on his first drive. That included a touchdown pass to Darnell Mooney, which was very, very clean. He had another touchdown pass to Javon Johnson, which was very nice to see. And he did a lot of work today with Cole Kmet, who stepped up big time for the Chicago Bears, who is also playing long snapper while Pat Scales is out on the COVID list. A lot of pretty sidearm throws from Justin Fields today, a lot of on the move. Matt Nagy wanted the defense to get after Fields today, kind of put him under pressure and to see how he would react to it. And he looked icy in the visor today. All the Bears quarterbacks wore visors today. Make sure you go check out our Instagram. We posted all three of them. We'd love to hear your vote. Who wore it the best? I'm honestly going with Justin Fields because, it just looks so clean. But Andy Dalton's a very quick second. And then speaking on Andy Dalton continues to look sharp at camp. He had a very good bunch of deep balls today to not only Darnell Mooney, but Allen Robinson and Javon Wims. Riley Ridley caught a few from him and Damian Byrd. This isn't the same as A couple of comments in our last video, everyone says that Andy Dalton looks great at camp. Rex Grossman also looked great at camp. There's a little bit of a difference here. It's been a while since we've had a legitimate quarterback like Jay Cutler on the Bears roster doing things in camp that looks very, very competitive. So we're very excited to see that from Andy Dalton. And again, a good day from Mitch is a horrible day from Andy Dalton. Not trying to put Mitch in a body bag there, but Bears fans, we all know the struggle of that. And then Dalton's best overall part of practice today was he ran a very smooth 2-minute drill to get in position for Cairo Santos to kick a game-winning field goal. And he did a great job with that today. Threw a very deep ball again to Damir Bird, who had a slick over-the-shoulder catch. It was very impressed by coaches. It's on Twitter, so please go check that out. We do not have the legal rights to own that. The Chicago Bears do. But he led the Bears down to the field. Cairo Santos right down the middle for a game-winning field goal. And Nick Foles came back to earth. Very quick on Nick Foles, wore the really ice crispy blue visor, but he got picked off by Alec Ogletree, who's the brand new linebacker from, he played for the Giants, the Rams, and the Jets. The Bears signed him to get some depth due to Josh Woods going out with a quad injury, and he will be competing for a roster spot. So, just to kind of like get into things, kind of want to hear, Advaith, we want to hear some of your opinions on it. What have you seen from social media, and what are your thoughts on the Bears quarterback situation, and how do you feel about Andy Dalton playing so well so far?
Yeah, I'll start off with Andy Dalton. So, for me, I have to agree with you guys, and I have to agree with what we're seeing from Bears reporters, what we're seeing from analysts, and that is that this year's camp, if you compare it to last year, we kept on seeing Mitchell Trubisky struggling, Andy Dalton is struggling, to give fans a lot of perspective and a comparison. It's like what the Broncos are having right now in Denver. Both quarterbacks are not looking good, but with Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton just might be one of our most talented quarterbacks that we've had, maybe besides Jay Cutler. He's a guy who can win you some games. He's not going to be flashy, of course. I'm going to talk about this in the video I'm making. He's not going to be flashy. He's not going to be like Justin Fields. He's not going to be like the Ferrari that Justin Fields is. But he's like a Toyota. He's reliable. He's going to get the job done. He's going to have some plays that are going to wow you. But not like Justin Fields where every play is a wow play. So, Andy Dalton is an average quarterback, an average starter, and that's what he brings to our team. And then in terms of Nick Foles, you watched that press conference and he said, yeah, I'm a better quarterback than when I won a Super Bowl. To me, based on what I'm seeing these past 2 days, not trying to hate on you, Nick, but it does not seem like that. It does not seem like Nick Foles is better than where he was when he won a Super Bowl. And then Justin Fields. Justin Fields, what I really like about this guy is every single day, he is improving. I think today he threw an interception, but Justin Fields was able to overcome that. He was able to, on the next play, use his feet, and he was able to get like a chunk of yards. He was able to move it to the next drive, move it to the next down. So I really love that about Justin, like overcoming that. And I saw another thing on Twitter about how Justin Fields throws the ball a little bit differently, as you've seen with Chris Sims. And what he said and what people are saying is that Justin Fields on certain throws will switch how he throws the ball. So I love that about Justin too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great insight too. I have to agree that Justin Fields does look better on certain throws. It is, and that's a big thing, is that the Bears have been missing a quarterback that can switch their style of throw on the move. We kind of hit on it, and you've seen it in pictures. I know you've posted about it, is that those sidearm throws like Patrick Mahomes did in, a few times, Justin does this exact same thing. It looks very clean and something that we're very excited about. So let's go into more of the Bears offense, not just the quarterbacks, because there's more than three guys, or one guy technically on the field. Is Darnell Mooney is putting defenders on skates so far during training camp. According to reports, he absolutely broke Deon Bush's ankles today and was wide open for a touchdown from Andy Dalton early in practice. He had the moves last year. He lives rent-free in Jalen Johnson's head. He is Jalen Johnson's father. Jalen Ramsey, excuse me. I'm sorry. Go back real fast. Jalen Ramsey, I apologize for that. But he lives rent-free in Jalen Ramsey's head, and he's looking even better. He did a lot of footwork this offseason with Allen Robinson. The two have a very strong connection right now, and he looks very good. He looks very strong in camp, and we're very excited for him to continue to be the number 2 receiver for the Chicago Bears. And if the Bears don't re-sign Allen Robinson after this season, which I know most Bears fans do hope so, he's going to be the number 1 guy. Cole Kmet also was very busy along with all the other tight ends. He was targeted 4 times on one drive by Andy Dalton, the 4 being on that game-winning field goal 2-minute drill that the Bears did that we kind of hit on earlier. He had some nice catches from Justin Fields as well. And he played long snapper, which I think is really cool that he was able to step in and be a leader like that, especially only being a sophomore in the league. Riley Ridley, though, and I'm going to get to this with you in a second, Riley Ridley is fighting for a roster spot right now. He has a good day. He has 2 good days and then 2 bad days, or 1 good day, 1 bad day. The inconsistency is there, and that's really starting to hurt Riley Ridley's stock value for this Bears team, as we have a very packed wide receiver room right now. So what do you think at this exact moment, Riley Ridley, is he going to be on the roster entering the season, or what does he have to do in practice? Or if he's not going to make the roster as of right now, what does he have to do in training camp right now to get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think as it stands right now and what we've seen from Riley Ridley in the past, unfortunately, I probably do see Riley Ridley getting cut as of this moment. But there are some things that might not happen. I mean, for example, Justin Fields was his first touchdown at Georgia, I believe, was to Riley Ridley.
It was.
So that's something that's a bright thing that you want to see from Riley Ridley and Justin Fields. The fact that they have that connection kind of seems like, okay, maybe the Bears won't cut him. Maybe they'll cut a guy like Javon Wims, But again, Riley Ridley has to be consistent. He hasn't really been on the field since he was drafted. And I would probably say in terms of a 4th-round pick, he's probably a bust for us. The fact that he hasn't seen the field at all. So Riley really has to be consistent. He has to come every day playing 100% to really make this team. So if he can do that, Riley really can definitely make the 53-man roster, but he has a long road ahead of him.
So it sounds like you prefer Riley Ridley over Javon Wims. Is that right?
Yeah, I probably do that because I think with Javon Wims, the fact that he got into a fight last year kind of worries me. And also the fact that he dropped that wide open touchdown against the Saints game worries me a little bit. So I would give Riley Ridley the edge over Javon Wims.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. That definitely has stuck with a lot of Bears fans. And luckily for him, Cody Parkey's double doink still kind of overshadows the whole drop pass in the end zone against the Saints last year. But crazy to think, that Javon Wims is still on the roster after everything that happened last year. He is also fighting for a spot, but the one advantage that Javon Wims has, and that's according to reports, is his size. The Bears only have one other 6-footer. I mean, Riley Ridley is just above 6 foot, but Javon Wims and Allen Robinson are the 2 tallest receivers on the team, and you need to have big guys as red zone threats. Kmet and Graham can't be it though, or Jesse James either. They all just can't be the only guys doing it. So, right before we get into the end of the offensive line, couple quick updates from up yesterday. James Daniels' quad injury is still being evaluated. There's not much more news on that. It's just that he was out today from practice. Tevin Jenkins is still out with a back injury. I know that, Advaith, that really concerns you. That concerns a lot of Bears fans as well. So he still hasn't seen the practice field. So we're hoping for a very speedy recovery for him. Take as much time as you need as a player to heal up and get right. We don't want to rush anything like that. But the positive that's come out of this is Larry Borom has run first team reps as a left tackle, and he has looked really great in place of Jenkins. Not saying, and hopefully Jenkins and Borom can be the future tackles of the Chicago Bears, but hopefully, Borom keeps this up. He's looked really good so far, and we're hoping for that. And the reason why Borom's also getting a lot of time is because Ifedi is out on the physically unable to perform list with a hip flexor injury. I have never seen this many injuries this early from an offensive line, just in training camp. So that is very concerning. I hope that these players are getting what they need in order to get their health back on track. So we will keep you guys updated on all lineman updates as we get them moving forward. So stay tuned for that. But Advaith, just if you had to choose one player on this offense so far from training camp that's impressed, who has been your favorite besides Justin Fields?
Probably for me, it probably has to be Darnell Mooney, because the fact that he's getting better each and every day, I think that's a major W. And then another player is Jesse James. When Jesse James signed here, I don't know what you guys thought about that. I thought, Jesse James is going to be a camp guy. He's not going to make the team at all. But Jesse James has improved. He's becoming that security blanket for Justin Fields. He's becoming that guy for Justin Fields to rely on. And I love that from Jesse James. And then probably my last word might be David Montgomery. David Montgomery is getting faster. He's breaking through tackles and all that good stuff. So yeah, probably those three players.
Yeah, I will say that David Montgomery's been kind of quiet in padded camp. I know there's only been one padded camp so far, but no one really talked about his performance yesterday. A lot of it's been focused on the injuries, unfortunately, and the quarterback play. So we'll have more on David Montgomery hopefully tomorrow. Looking for more reports on Twitter from that, because unfortunately, none of us were able to go to training camp so far, as we did not get the tickets for any of the camps. Now, let's go into topic number 3, the defense and injuries. We'll just go through super fast in a little bit. So defense, we don't have much to hit on, but it is exciting. We have a new free agent signing of Alec Ogletree. He did come he has played for the Giants, Rams, and Jets, and he picked off Nick Foles in his first day as a Chicago Bear at practice during the third teams. Yes, it was the third stringers, but listen, and if you're in the NFL, you're obviously a talented athlete. This guy has a pretty good resume in regards to his career. He's very strong, fast, and is a solid impression to start off his Chicago Bears career in fighting for that final roster spot. This happened right after Josh Woods ended up with that quad injury that he suffered. So we are very excited to see what Ogletree can continue to do for the Chicago Bears team. I don't think he'll be a starter, but he's a solid depth player. And then we'll go into Trevis Gibson, the sophomore. He was a rookie last year, did not get a lot of playing time last year due to, obviously his status in the NFL, but he looks like an entirely different person. According to reports, he's really getting into the backfield very well. He's reading the offense. He's going after running back. He's going after David Montgomery very, very quickly. So he's got the speed to go after these strong, fast running backs, and he's getting to the quarterback, which is always great to see. And Khalil Mack, Trevis Gibson, as we were just talking about, and Ladarius Mack, Khalil Mack's brother, are all living in the backfield. So the front seven on the defense is looking great. Eddie Goldman is still out due to COVID protocol, so we'll keep you guys updated on that. But overall, the Bears defense is looking like themselves. They're getting after it. But, overall, Advaith, in regards to the defense, we've talked about Coach Desai a couple times on this podcast, and I know that you like him a lot too. Where do you think the Bears' defensive energy should be focused on right now? Because the front seven seems pretty good. Maybe the linebackers, obviously with injuries of Josh Woods and depth. But where do you think in anywhere on the defense the main focus should be right now?
Probably the cornerback position. And the reason I say that is we just lost Kyle Fuller, and we are really looking to who's going to be that number 2 cornerback. Is it going to be Kendall Bulldor? Is it going to be Desmond Trufant? What I've seen from camp today, it did seem that Desmond Trufant was playing with the number 2s, and it did seem that Kendall Bulldor was playing with the number 1s. So I think Kendall Bulldor is a little bit edging out just based on what I saw. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but based on reports I saw from people who went there, it seemed like that is the case. So I want to see who's going to be that number 2 cornerback. And then one guy, Nick, I think people are not talking enough about is Thomas Graham Jr. And Thomas Graham Jr. the other day was able to keep up with Marquise Goodwin. I mean, that's just huge for a rookie to keep up with a veteran, but to keep up with one of the fastest receivers in the NFL. That's huge. I think Thomas Graham will be our starting cornerback when the season starts.
Whoa, Advaith coming in with the hot take, man. That's a take that London is going to like to hear when he hears this episode. Unfortunately, London couldn't make it today. But Advaith, we have talked about Thomas Graham Jr. a lot. We like Kendall Vildor a lot, but Thomas Graham Jr., he is making a name for himself. And I'm really happy you brought up that he's keeping up with Marquise Goodwin, because that's huge. A lot of people didn't know about Thomas Graham Jr. coming out of college because he was a later round pick, but he is ripping up Bears camp right now. Something that's very exciting. And I'm also happy that you brought up Desmond Trufant, because we signed him as a starter. We signed him to be a veteran to help mentor guys like Kendall Vildor and Thomas Graham Jr. And look what's happening. He's actually getting outplayed by the guys that he should be mentoring. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. The DB position is very interesting. Again, we're definitely going to miss Kyle Fuller this upcoming season. But man, it's just weird, right? It's weird not having Fuller out there, but it's exciting to have a new corner that's going to take over. So I'm locking it in right now, Advaith. Are you saying that Thomas Graham Jr. is for sure cornerback 1 entering week 1 against LA?
Maybe not cornerback one. I meant to say slot corner, but still, that's
Slot
the
corner.
huge hot take. Yeah, but I think that's still somewhat huge for him to be that slot corner. Maybe him and Countable Door will battle it out, and I don't mind Countable Door being that slot, but we'll have to see where it goes. But Thomas Graham Jr. again, he's gonna be really, really good for the Chicago Bears and might even maybe in the NFL. Ryan Pace has found steals in the defense, so I'm really, really excited for that. And also, I know this means nothing, but during today's press conference, they had Kendall Bodor speaking. Again, probably means nothing, but the fact they didn't have Desmond Trufant talking really speaks to me like, maybe this team is going with Kendall Bodor at that CB2 spot.
Yeah, usually when your GM is, talking highly of a guy that he drafted and the other guy that he signed was supposed to be cornerback one, that's usually an indicator who's going to be probably the starter on the team. But it's Matt Nagy and Coach Desai's choice at the end of the day. So we'll get more into that in a little bit. Look out for more news in regards to the cornerback position. But let's get into the final topic just before we close out today. Injuries and players that are out. This is a very long list, and it's unfortunate that the list is this long. We, again, hope these players get back to health and are safe as fast as possible. So just to quickly go through, Tevin Jenkins is out with a back injury. Robert Quinn is out with a back injury. James Daniels is still out with a quad injury. We still are waiting to hear more on that because that's a big topic for us as well. Artie Burns is out with a quad injury, cornerback that we re-signed this recent past season. Tayshaun Gibson, our strong safety, is also out with a quad injury or a groin injury. I apologize about that. Michael Joseph is out with a hamstring injury. Josh Woods is out with a quad injury. Elijah Wilkinson actually now is confirmed. The reason why he was not at practice yesterday was due to being put on the COVID protocol. Eddie Goldman is out with the COVID protocol. Christian Jones is out with the COVID protocol. And Pat Scales is out with the COVID protocol. And then the final three players is Jermaine Ifedi. He's out with physically unable to perform due to his hip flexor. Tyreek Cohen is out with physically unable to perform as well. He will be coming back hopefully soon. It is a little bit of a gray area right now. And then Eddie Jackson had a non-football related injury that we're finding out. So that one's new. We're going to keep an eye on that as well. There's more information to come out about it. Keep your eyes on Twitter, as Just Another Year's Twitter will be posting about it as we find out more. But Advaith, what is up with all these injuries? What are you thinking so far? And are you nervous about any of them specifically? Are these just kind of tweak injuries, like, getting the rust off, your body's not used to it? What do you think so far about everything that's going on in regards to the injury report?
Yeah, I guess when I'm looking on this list, some guys that I'm not really worried about are some of those dead pieces, maybe someone like Elijah Woods, maybe someone like Michael Joseph. But what I'm really, really worried about is that offensive line. And, the fact that you have most of your offensive line injured, the only starters I think are playing are Cody Whitehair and our center, Sam Mustapha, are our only healthy starters currently playing. So the fact that Tevin Jenkins is out, the fact that James Daniels is out, is something that's really worrisome for me. And, with Tevin Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken, he did miss last year some games in college with a back injury. So I hope this is not a consistent thing with him because we need Tevin Jenkins to play. And I'll say this before I end it, and it's that I've been seeing on Twitter of so many people saying, oh my God, Tevin Jenkins is injured and we are so worried. And I'm worried too, but they're going and calling him a bust. And I just don't agree with that. Like, we have to give Tevin Jenkins some time. There's still over a month to go till camp starts. And Tevin Jenkins is one of the strongest offensive lines. So I'm not too worried about it if he can come back healthy, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. No one should be calling a guy a bust that hasn't even taken a snap in the NFL yet. So I'm with you on that, and I think that's unfair. But hopefully he gets better in the next couple of weeks. But take as much time as you need, Tevin, to get better and be the best football player that you can be for the Chicago Bears. So with that, that is day 8. I can't believe it's already day 8 of training camp for the Chicago Bears. Again, no pads today. Pads were on Tuesday at Soldier Field, but they will be back in pads tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So very excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing some guys get hit, but obviously no injuries. So Advaith, thank you very much for joining us today. It was great to finally get you on the podcast. And stay tuned for me to be on Advaith's podcast. We're going to be on in a little bit. The recording will be coming in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. But Advaith, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Nick. It was truly an honor to talk with you and really collaborate with you. And it was really cool to be having a conversation with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone, Advaith's Instagram is under his name on this recording. So make sure to go follow him. Check out, he's got some great Chicago Bears content. But with that, my name is Nick Rohde. I'm joined with Advaith, and we are bringing you another episode of Just Another Year Chicago, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks, guys.